So Parkour Tower. It's a map. It exists, I guess. You spawn on the inside of a big tower and you climb a long winding series of cubes and crates and barrels along the inner sides of the tower. It is very much linear, it's basic, it's repetitive, it's annoying, and I hate it. Seriously, I hate this map so much. I'm usually able to find enjoyment in even the more basic parkour maps, given they are somewhat competent or at least beatable. But Parkour Tower is a map which I legitimately don't enjoy. It's the most overrated map ever, and it's just bad. Like, if there's any one map in Krunker that I'd call bad, it would be this one. To start off on a less than bad note, the parkour challenges themselves, as repetitive as they can be, are actually kind of varied. You have different sized platforms, wall running, semi-invisible plane platforms, a choose the right path section, although it's kind of easy to figure out which ones you can land on. It's nothing special, but at least it isn't all the same jumps over and over and over and over again like in Parkour Room. So there you go, one good thing. But that's about it. A single alright thing among a boatload of just stupid shit. The aesthetics of the map are just bare bones, very basic, with nothing but wall textures and random colors that don't really adhere to any color scheme. Even though the lighting is passable enough, not a lot of thought at all was put into the looks of the map. But at least you can see where you're going, and they added color, at least. While the map does feature several different kinds of parkour jumps, the map overwhelmingly features generic hop from one cube to the next jumps, and is still very repetitive. Not to mention the blocks themselves are placed and colored with little rhyme or reason, or thought put into it. The worst thing about that is, if you fall off at any point, you start over at the very beginning. There are no checkpoints. Yeah, I know a lot of other maps at the time didn't have checkpoints either, but this particular map is annoying enough with the checkpoints, let alone without them. But all those minor problems are little things compared to some of the monumental blunders of the map. Near the top of the tower and the home stretch of the climb, there is this one jump right before you make it to the top. When I first went for the jump, I failed. So after cursing myself, I slogged through the entire map again, only to fail again. After nearly losing my mind after trying over and over again to make this damn jump, I discovered that my worst nightmare has been realized. This jump is fucking impossible. That's right, this map is unbeatable, which means I literally wasted an entire hour of my time on a broken map. Now I know there is a way to beat it by using this ridiculously complicated slide jump maneuver that took me months upon months to get down. Basically, you start on the block before the broken jump, you make the jump, you crouch in midair, and the instant before you land on the beginning of the impossible jump, you let go of crouch, and just a few frames after you land while you're still sliding and the character is coming up from the crouch, you jump again and it gives you extra height or something. It's complicated, it's unreliable, and it takes a lot of practice that honestly isn't worth it in this case, but it's at least possible. Or you could just use unlimited FPS to get a higher jump, but that requires a Krunker client because Chrome locks your FPS to your monitor's refresh rate. So okay, fine, it's possible after all, but when this map came out in 2018, neither sliding or any official Krunker client existed. So when this map came out, unless you knew that unlimited FPS equals higher jumps, and you knew how to get unlimited FPS in Chrome, you could not beat this map at all. The map was literally impossible. It's like the map maker didn't even bother to playtest this shit before he released it. And you wanna know the worst thing about it? The perfect cherry on top? This map, Parkour Tower, it's the most upvoted parkour map of all time. I'm not kidding, it has over 5,000 upvotes. You'd think that a map like B-Hop Level 6.4, Parkour Plus, Fire 5 Parkour, Parkour Old Brick, any of those maps would take the crown. But no, this dinky little turd of a map is the most upvoted. I'm not even kidding. I know I said that already, but I'm just blown away. Like, what the f***? And it gets worse. There's a little more to the map than just the inside. There's a parking lot off to the side with good old noob cars strewn about, and around the back is a secret pathway, which the guy who made this map put half the area under the death zone, which means you can't get any lower than this area, and you can't get the points here. And this time there's no way to get around it. This has 5,000 upvotes. And before I forget, let's talk about the end. On top of the tower after that cursed jump, there's at least something that resembles a checkpoint, which is the roof. All there is up here are points in the four corners, cause let's change the structure of the map so suddenly and let's tempt the players to fall off on accident. And in the very center, there's a tree. And not even a big tree, just a little tree that takes like 10 seconds to get up. And on top of that is the official end of the map where you get 55 points all at once, out of the 86 that are supposedly on the map. Now I actually mentioned this very section of a map before very briefly in my now over 1 year old video of Bihar badges. They have these crazy high total point numbers promising a huge epic experience, yet the majority of them are just all in one place. Okay, thank you for scamming me then, like what's the big deal, why not just have 1 point? Stop fudging up the numbers for crying out loud. And while in certain cases I still stand by that opinion, I have to say on Parkour Tower, getting 50 points at the very end is in a way relieving. But not in the satisfying way, like I'm glad I managed to beat it, but instead I'm glad it's fucking over. So I think I've made myself clear at this point. I really don't like Parkour Tower. It's a pain in the joonies, and I'm sick of it. But there's one little thing about the map that changes everything that I have yet to mention. I'd like to note that, there are different map modes other than parkour. Modes that involve shooting other people, like free-for-all team deathmatch and captures the flag, including some other modes like Infect mode. And Infect mode in particular has had some insanely popular and actually well-designed maps made for it. Certain parkour maps actually double as decent Infect maps, and Parkour Tower is surprisingly an example of this. In fact, Parkour Tower may be the first example of a map that went well with Infect mode at the time. And that is why people like this map so much. Not because it's a parkour map, but because it's an Infect map. Albeit through sheer dumb luck, the map created an Infect concept that takes advantage of your fight or flight response to danger, where you have to choose, should I go a little higher to stay safe, or should I fight as many zombies from where I am? Unfortunately, even with Infect mode, Parkour Tower isn't really the best, as you can literally just camp in one spot and shoot the zombies from there, and there isn't really much room to dodge the bullets. But Parkour Tower is definitely much better geared for Infect mode than for Parkour mode, even if it's intentional. Playing Parkour Tower and Infect modes made me realize that, yeah, Parkour mode isn't always the most fun. After all, Krunker is a multiplayer game, and sometimes playing with other people is really the best way to play. Too bad there's still no cure for Krunkitis. But having said all that, I just still can't really recommend this map. Even as an Infect map, there are just so many other better maps out there to play, especially nowadays. Even those emoji maps from Matt Star are better than Parkour Tower. It's like a deck of cards. I mean, yeah, playing solitaire is better than 52 card pickup.
Pick up the cards!
But even then, why play cards when you have dominoes or, I don't know, video games?